Is Jenny Han projecting?
I'm sure. She has to be. And you know what else she's projecting? Her immaturity. How the F did Jenny Han write the most immature character? If you told me today, hey, write a 15-year-old, I would not know how to make them as dumb as Belly.
Hello, clowns.
I'm Ami.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Vibes Podcast.
We're two best friends who get together to laugh and discuss a variety of topics.
From all things pop culture to navigating through adulthood as Asian Americans, and more with our own clown spin, of course.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, clowns, how's it going? Yuch, how's your morning?
I'm always so awkward at the very beginning, so I'm just like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to me, or are you talking to the non-existent audience?
Both. But you have to respond as a member, like as a proxy for the audience.
Woo! Well, okay, I'm claiming that we are very excited to be on Cloud Vibes today, but everything else is kind of a drain right now. Just trying to get to the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, can't wait. I'm excited. How has your running been going? I feel like it's good prep for our Yosemite trip.
Are you planning on running in Yosemite?
No, but I just mean like exercise. I don't know.
Well,
I'm definitely not running.
I can't believe you remember my running goal because I thought no one would remember and call me out on it. But running has currently turned into walking, which is still like good enough prep for Yosemite. I don't know. I just stopped because I could not stop tripping on the treadmill. I don't know. Something about me running on treadmills is just a no-go, and I also just have a bad record with tripping on treadmills, so I'm actively trying to avoid that.
You too.
And then
that's fair.
It made me so hungry, and I was just like, I can't keep up with feeding myself like this. Like, I don't know, people who like weight lift and like are bodybuilders, they have to eat so much. I'm just like, this is so exhausting to feed yourself.
Their like whole day is just prepping for their
eating
meals
and working out. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Are you still doing the race?
No. I met up with my friend who was the one that like initially texted me about this, and I was like, so we're not doing this, right? She's like, no, we're not. So we were like all on the same page without having to discuss it.
Yeah, every time I decide I'm gonna run, it's for 10 minutes, and then I have forgotten the goal already and decided that I'm not gonna. What else has been going on?
I went to Monterey this past weekend. It was the second time I was at Monterey, but this time I did like all the touristy stuff, like go to the famous aquarium, which is, I would say, overpriced. It was $60 for an adult ticket. Jail, right? And it's like a pretty small aquarium. I mean, it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it was really cool, and I bet it's like really expensive to keep up with the exhibits. But $60 for an adult ticket, that's like an amusement ride, or that's like an amusement park ticket price. And there's so much more to do there. Like, they have an aquarium in there probably in comparison to just the aquarium at Monterey. And kid prices are like
that's
$40.
No, that's really crazy. Have you been to the Atlanta aquarium?
I've never been to Atlanta.
Oh. Okay, I was gonna say, how does it compare? Because I love the Atlanta aquarium, but obviously I've never been to Monterey. You'll have to take me so that we can compare.
The coolest part was definitely I think like deep sea, like jellyfish area.
Oh, the jellyfish is always the
coolest. But they always have that like at almost every aquarium now.
Yeah. You know, the Dallas aquarium sucks. It's like, well, it doesn't suck. It's just not a real aquarium. More than half of it is like the forest.
What?
And it's like lizards and stuff. It has nothing to do with fish. and there's like maybe 10 tanks at the end. Like, it's a real letdown.
The SF Zoo is like that too. Like, it was actually kind of sad when I went to the SF Zoo. I was like, I don't know where our funding goes to, but I'm sad for the kids. We're excited to bring back Throwback Book Club.
Are you guys tired of this yet, or what?
Because we're kind of tired of it. Tired of the chore.
We're so tired of reading these dumb books. Although reading The Hunger Games is fun, okay? I'm only talking about Gossip Girl and the book we read for this week.
Yes. So the book that we chose is The Summer I Turned Pretty, primarily because the second season of the Amazon adaptation of the book is coming out this summer, which I am actually still like really excited for. The first season I thought was really good, and I think I mentioned this in another episode, but this is the first time that I'm reading it, and you've read it before, right? Once.
Yes, I have.
But I feel like after this, we want to take a little bit of a break in powering through these trash young adult novels because, I mean, there's only so much we can take as clowns.
Only so much. And I have 2 brain cells right now and like half a second of attention span. And every time I'm reading these, I'm just getting so annoyed.
Yeah.
And so it takes me so much longer than it should because I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
All right. So you can clearly tell that we're not big fans of the book, but let me give the audience a brief overview, the wiki synopsis that we pulled on what The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book, is about. So, on an annual summer vacation to their family's friend's beach house, Belly reunites with her brother and childhood friends Jeremiah and Conrad. There, she finds herself caught in a love triangle. So much to unpack.
That's the entire synopsis. Yeah. And when I pulled this, I was just like, this is short. Let me try to find another one. But then I was thinking about it more, and I'm like, this is the only thing that happens. Like, nothing happens in this book.
Okay, well, first of all, she's not reuniting with her brother. I don't know who wrote this. Did you make that part up? Or
okay,
did you pull it word for word?
No, I copy pasted this. Yeah.
Okay, so in the book, Belly is what, 16? Or she's 15 and she turns 16 throughout the duration of the book. Jeremiah, I think, is like 1 year older, right? Sorry, Jeremiah's 1 year younger.
1 year. No. Everyone's older than her.
Really? Okay, so Jeremiah and Steve and her brother are the same age, roughly, and then Conrad is the oldest.
Yes.
And the premise of the book is basically like she and her family, Steven and her mom, have always been going to this beach house for as long as they can remember. Like, Belly's mom was pregnant with Belly, and they were still going to Susanna's house because Belly's mom, Laurel, and Susanna are best friends from college. And it's always been mostly like the moms and the kids. So the kids basically have like grown up together. And you very quickly find out that like Belly has had a deep love for Conrad since like the dawn of time, or since she was like
low-key obsession with
or
Conrad.
Something. And it basically like jumps back and forth between like her explaining like different times in the summer, like different ages and like different things that have happened throughout different summers. And it like kind of ties back to what's going on in this summer, which is kind of like it's their last summer because Conrad is going to college next year. Steven is leaving early in the summer, which is like not what usually happens. Susanna is always super tired. And so things this summer is like super weird. And to the name of like the title of the book, it's the summer that she also turns pretty.
She gets boobs. Like, I don't know what else has changed.
I don't have boobs, so I guess I never turned pretty. But like, how is a 15-year-old aware that she turned pretty? Like, what does that even mean?
I feel like it's just a Belly concocting this narrative in her head, like she does for everything, and like giving something a meaning. And she's like, why are the boys all of a sudden like paying attention to me? Oh, it must be because I'm pretty now.
Or
That's
it
how I
must
think of
be
it.
that she just became a horny teenager and is like throwing herself at everyone. Like she also doesn't want to hang out with the moms back at home, so she like wants to start going out and exploring, which is perfectly fine, but she's like phrasing it
Yeah.
as a way that she's like so pretty now.
Yeah, yeah. Like Belly's whole personality is like trying to get in with the boys. Like there's no substance to her as a character.
Yes.
What does she like? What does she dislike? I don't know.
Okay.
It's all like created around Conrad.
Well, she likes swimming. Like that's clear.
Okay,
But everything
fine.
else that she likes is like, I would describe her personality as trying to fit the mold of a summer beach girl. Like she's like, I
Yes.
want to go to the drive-in because like that's where I hear everyone goes on their dates, and like that's where you're supposed to make out. Like she's like, I really want to go skinny dipping because that would make me like such an adult. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what but everything that she does like fruit roll-ups, like get all these
Oh,
like, yeah,
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid, are just such like
Sugar, basically.
such childish things that she likes. So I think mentally she's stuck at like 12 years old, but like because she has boobs now, she's like, no, I need to be an adult.
Older. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, I guess we've already talked about Belly a little bit, and then let's talk about Jeremiah and Conrad. Like, what were your thoughts on Jeremiah?
Okay, I love Jeremiah. I don't know if it's because I watched the series first and I was Team Jeremiah
Yeah.
in the series, but I'm still Team Jeremiah. But Jeremiah and Conrad are brothers and they have this very like older brother, younger brother dynamic. Jeremiah is
Very.
like Susanna describes him as like her golden boy. Like he has
Mm-hmm.
soft gold locks. Like everything about him is soft, like what I read from the book. He's
Yeah.
more in touch with his feelings. He's a jokester too. Like he just wants everyone to get
Mm-hmm.
along. And in comparison, Conrad, it kind of reminds me of Edward Cullen a little bit in Twilight. Do you get that vibe from him? He's so sulky, like in his feelings,
Yeah.
but like pushes everyone away. He's also like the star football player. He takes up like smoking, which, ew, I don't know where he got that from, but like he
Yeah.
has this air of like, I'm too cool for you guys, but I'm sensitive and broody and I'm an intellectual, but also not. Like he's also trying to be too cool, I think, for how cool he actually is.
Yeah. And he, like, anytime he has a feeling, I know that in his head, he's like, no,
I
not
can't
allowed.
say it.
Shove it down. Yeah, I agree. I also really like Jeremiah. I think he's just like a good character in this mix of bad characters. And I think he's honestly one of the more developed characters.
Totally.
Like, we see his personality a lot more, and he's supposed to be like the juxtaposition to Conrad. And I guess he is.
He is, which I'm just like, Belly, why can't you see this? And why are
Yeah.
you so in love with Conrad? I mean, the premise of the
Mm-hmm.
book is like she's explaining how she loves Conrad, but like she's trying to shake off this crush that she had on Conrad. She meets this guy, Cam, at the bonfire, and they develop like a summer fling. Is this her like first
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend fling?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I feel like if it wasn't, they would have brought it up in the past
Yeah.
chapter.
Well, I'm honestly like team Cam. Like Cam is such a sweetheart. She meets Cam at a bonfire and he kind of like saves her from being like all alone because she doesn't know anyone at the bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
Besides the
yeah,
boys who are not giving her the time of
yeah,
day.
like they're not really looking out for her. And it finds out that like they've met before at like this convention, this like
Latin camp
yeah,
or something.
and they start hanging out, and he's such a gentleman. He's like very slow moving, like it's so obvious that she like wants to make out with him, but he's so respectful of her, and
Yeah.
like they grow closer and closer together. But ultimately, like in the back of her mind, it's always been Conrad, and she's
Yeah.
secretly like, I think, does a lot of these things to a try to get some experience out of like her time with Cam. Like she's like, I want to go to the drive-in
Yeah.
with Cam. I want to do all these, like, I want to race Cam in the pool. Like she's using Cam as like a checklist to try to check
Yeah.
off all these experiences that she wants out of her like first boyfriend or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she actually likes Cam. Do you think she likes Cam?
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. She uses him as like a way to check things off of a checklist and make Conrad jealous. Like that is her goal half of the time. And like things that she'll do with Cam, like lean like put her head on his shoulder when they're watching a movie and stuff. It's all for Conrad's benefit, not like because she actually cares about Cam. She's kind of mean to him.
So mean, and he like takes it like a champ.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where she wanted to go skinny dipping with him, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm not like feeling it right now. He's like, maybe later. And she's, what did she say that was like so cringe? But she got so mad because he didn't want to like go skinny dipping, and she like ran away. Like she ran back into the house, and she's like, I wanted him to like follow me. But I'm just like, if I was in Cam's position, I'd be like, I don't want to follow
What the
her
fuck?
back into the house.
Yeah, I can't remember what she said, but like Belly's MO is throwing a tantrum and acting out in the hopes that like someone will care, but no one cares.
Well, in the book, she even like talks about how like everyone threatens her like to not be such a baby and to not throw a tantrum. So if you're known for throwing tantrums, doesn't that say a
Yeah.
lot about your character?
And it's like, yeah, do we feel so harshly because we don't remember what it's like to be 15? Or like we're so removed from it? You know what I mean? Like at 15, should we expect her to like have any emotional regulation? I mean, I hope a little
You
bit.
know, that's true because I remember there was this girl that I was really close with when I was like 16. I think she was just a year or two younger. I thought she was so
Mm-hmm.
immature though. She reminds me a lot of Belly, like can't control her emotions. And she reminded me a lot of Tiffany too, like just having these really
Mm.
immature thoughts. And we were in high school, so maybe
I don't know. Maybe like this is just what 15-year-olds are like.
scary. That is a scary thought.
Scary. Yeah, I don't like how she used Cam. I don't really like that whole situation. And they kind of just fall off. They basically quote unquote drift, but like
No,
intentionally. Cam is, well,
she
kind of.
ghosted him. She straight out ghosted him because he reached out twice and left a
Oh, yeah, I
voicemail.
forgot that. Yeah,
That was
I forgot
so
that.
mind
Okay.
boggling to me because I was like,
She was mean.
she straight up, like, okay, so the reason why she ghosted him is because Conrad had invited this girl that he was kind of like casually seeing over the summer back to the summer house, and Belly decided also to invite Cam back to that house that day because she didn't want to like see them together, and all four of them start watching a movie together, and it was a very classic like someone's trying to make someone jealous, like there's tension between Belly
Yeah.
and Conrad. And at the end, Cam is like, did you invite me here to make him jealous? And she was like, no, like that girl's terrible. It was like weird, and Cam was like, oh well, summer's almost over, like do you still want to hang out, do you want to keep in touch? And she had like a very delayed like reaction of like, yeah, she does. And I think Cam is not
Yeah.
dumb. Cam knows.
No, he's not.
But like a few days later, he like calls her, she lets it go to voicemail, he calls her again. He like records a voicemail saying like, "Hey, it's Cam. Just want to see if you want to like hang out one last time before you leave." It's not even like asking her to be his girlfriend at that point. He's just actually, I
Yeah.
think, being nice and saying like, "We had a thing," and like be nice to just say hi to each other one last time. But she was like so caught up in her own world.
Yeah, to her defense,
What?
slightly, very slightly, because she could have said, like, no, I'm busy. Like, that's when they find out that Susanna has cancer. And so, again, and so they're basically like dealing with their emotions around like her being sick, which is a lot, especially when you're 15. And so it's kind of just like, I don't like want to leave this house. I just want to like spend time with everyone here. Like, I don't want to see Cam, and that's fine. But just like be like, hey, I think I'm just gonna spend time with the
Yeah,
family for the rest of the summer. Like, nice to see you. I don't think it excuses not replying, but I do think she was going through a lot.
she was, and I think that's very representative of a girl, especially like Conrad. Conrad was being a little shithead because he was
Oh yeah,
going through it too that summer, and it like really shows what a teenager at that time knows and how to deal with like such a difficult situation. They do not know how to communicate. That is what I got
yeah,
from. They don't know how to understand their own emotions and they don't know how to communicate their feelings.
yeah. And I did not either. Like at that point, I don't know that I would have been able to be like, hey, I can't.
I didn't,
So
and I also like the guy that I was dating at the time also didn't. I had a very similar, like I was Cam in my like breakup with my high school boyfriend. Like I left him a voicemail because he like refused to pick up the phone.
oh my god. Like I get leaving the
Because I
voicemail.
was like,
Like
I don't
you
want to
you want to
have to
say what you
keep
want to
trying to
say.
say what I'm trying to break up with you. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Conrad is extra moody this summer because he basically knows that his mom has cancer again. His parents are fighting and like no one else knows. So he has to really internalize it, and he's just a little shit because of it.
so Belly is using all his little shithead actions as a way to convince herself that she's over him, which she should be because honestly, his
Mhm.
actions gave me the ick. Like the entire time, I was like, ugh, like what is she
She's
like about
so
him? And I still don't know.
she's so infatuated. I have no idea what she likes. She's so infatuated she cannot, like, anytime she's like, oh, I should be icked by that, she's just like, but I'm not.
And I think it comes back to, and we talked about this a little bit before when we were prepping for this episode, but Susanna, I don't know why she did. Susanna's a dreamer. Honestly, she's just such a lofty dreamer.
Yes.
But ever since Belly was born, she's always had this like idea that Belly was made for one of her boys. She doesn't know which one. So Susanna, why are you stirring the pot? Like at the very beginning,
Yeah.
stirring the fucking pot. But now Belly has in her head that she's made for either Jeremiah or Conrad. And
Yes.
in the book, Jenny Han tries to go back to like previous summers to explain why Belly likes Conrad, but I still don't understand why Belly likes
No.
Conrad. Like I think it's because he's older and he's like the star kid in their family, so she just has it in her head that it's him.
Yeah, and I think it's like a game, like, right? Jeremiah is giving her
Yes.
attention, right? They're friends. They're very close. They're very buddy buddy. And I think like probably in her little immature head, she thinks like, "Oh, I want the guy like who doesn't want me and who doesn't give me attention."
On the flip side, so I mean, this entire book is about how Belly likes Conrad, but then at the very, very end, Conrad admits that he's always had like thoughts and feelings about Belly, and I'm just like, dude, why?
That's fake. Fake news. Fake news, he is not. And I think he is also like really swayed by Susanna being like, Belly's gonna be for one of you guys. I'm the oldest. Like, I want to make my mom happy, especially like she's sick. I think there's so much of that going on from both sides. And you know what? This point I wanted to make, in the flashbacks where we're supposed to learn why she likes Conrad, he's just like nice to her,
Yeah.
kind of, in those. And like she only remembers those things, but I can guarantee you Jeremiah is nice to her all the time.
Like Jeremiah like when he takes her out to drive, he does stuff without having to be asked. And like that one scene
Exactly.
where like Conrad is dancing with her is because his mom told him to dance with her.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with himself, like coming up with this idea. They're both hella swayed by Susanna's like goal, idea, whatever the fuck it is, that Belly needs to be with one of them. And he's kind of like, okay, I guess it has to be me.
Yeah, the whole love triangle plot literally makes no sense, which is the entire book. A lot of the topics that I think we covered kind of alludes to the fact that like it's a coming of age novel. I mean, it's classified as a coming of age novel. And how do we feel about that? Do we actually think it's a coming of age where you go through this event that's supposed to matures you?
I don't think that happened for Belly.
And you know what's interesting?
Like, I think it's a YA romance. I don't think it's like a coming of age.
Yeah, because at what point
book
did she mature? Like, at what point was there a turning?
No.
I guess Susanna tells her
0
that
points.
she has cancer, but I don't think she becomes more mature because remember when she tries to comfort Conrad and as he's like crying, she decides to like go in for a kiss. I'm just like, ah.
That part, I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? I felt so like gross. Not gross, but I was just like, what? In what world does he want you to kiss him right now?
Well, actually, he did because they started making.
I mean, he did, but
But
it's like exactly like I don't know that he like wanted to make out with Belly. I think he just was like sad, wanted a distraction, like whatever. That was the weirdest thing. And then she's like, "Oh, Conrad likes me too," and it's like, does he?
Yes, I was like looking up some articles that Jenny Hunt like or interviews that she did for the book or for the movie, and it was basically like her whole thing is coming of age can happen at any time. Well, it's gonna happen like at 30 for Belly at the rate that she's going.
It happens when she's like 21, 22.
Okay.
I've read all the books, so I know.
I guess I don't know. When did we come of age? Is that late?
I don't know. I don't know when I came of age. Like, I don't think anything like really life-changing happened for me to have changed in a dramatic fashion at any point.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a while for Belly. It obviously is not. It doesn't happen for the first book. I will say that.
No. And when it does happen, like in the books, it's like a fast forward 3 years, then Belly's mature. We don't read Belly maturing.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Amazon adaptation?
I really liked the show.
Yeah, same.
And I think the changes that they made for the show were good ones for the most part.
The show is a completely different storyline to the book.
Fully different story. Yeah. It has the same characters and like I guess the same general situation, but it's so different.
There's just more substance to the show, and I think it goes to show like how aware Jenny Han may have been at the lack of substance for the trilogy. Yeah. But one of the main changes she makes is she makes Belly half Asian, and Laurel, her mother, Asian. And I want to discuss this because I saw the show before I read the book. I thought in the book Belly was going to be half Asian, but it's never like stated. And honestly, Belly as a character, it's so obvious that she's white. Like, what Asian mother would let her kids go to a summer house every single summer? Like, that's just like, there's no way she has an Asian mother. But I read in an interview that she really did want to make the series more representative of the time, which I roll my eyes, but also I get it. Like, she makes Jeremiah bisexual,
Mhm.
which is great. She adds all of these like people of color as side characters though. But the main character of like Conrad, like their family are still like predominantly
Still
white,
white.
which is like really weird because A, if Jenny Han wanted to make Belly an Asian character, why does she choose to make her half white?
She also does this with Laura Jean in her like second trilogy, To All the Boys I've Ever Loved. And I don't understand why at all. She's not half Asian. She's full
The
Asian.
character or
So
the actress?
I'm the actress is, but like Jenny Han is full Asian. Like why did she come up with like, oh, in the show Belly should be half Asian? Why not full Asian? How does Jenny Han know like the struggle of being mixed? Not that it ever comes into
It
play.
never does.
She never even mentions
Like
it.
in the show, even it's not even obvious that Belly, like her characterization, like what she does. There's no indication that there's like any Asian upbringing culture in
No.
her. Like Laurel doesn't act Asian. It's just all very
Mm-mm.
bizarre, and Laurel is full Asian. Even if she was like first or second generation, those like cultural upbringings are still carried through to you. And it's not like
For
portrayed
sure.
at all in the show. Like they're white.
Exactly. It's kind of like why did you make them Asian then? It's like it's more confusing. Like, do you think visually Asians are nice, but like culturally you don't want to portray that? Like it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird, and like her choosing to make her mom Asian, her dad white, Belly ultimately choosing Conrad, the most whitest boy, like so bland as like plain white walls. In comparison to Jeremiah, who in the series has so much substance and is bisexual. Like she chose to make Jeremiah the like proxy for being diverse, but you are ultimately
Mm-hmm.
making Belly choose the most boring ass man in this show. And even Cam is,
Yeah.
he's a person of color in the show too, right?
Yeah, I don't know like what
Yeah.
his
So she adds so
ethnicity
much
is, but yeah.
diversity into the cast, but Belly ultimately chooses the most boring ass white man.
Yes. It is so Mindy Kaling-esque. Like Jenny Han is the East Asian Mindy Kaling. Like
Okay, describe that.
rinse and repeat.
Because I feel like Mindy Kaling is more involved in her writing for people of color than Jenny Han.
Okay, yes, I do think Mindy Kaling like does keep the cultural aspects of being like Indian in her shows, which like, and I will give her that. But at the end of the day, her characters choose the most boring white man.
And it's so disappointing.
In that, so disappointing. Like, and Jenny Han in her second trilogy, To All the Boys I Ever Loved, same. Like, she chooses, I don't know what his name is, but Noah Centineo's character, the whitest, most boring person. Although I guess like Laura Jean is like a little bit more Korean. Like she goes to her grandma's house and like wears the hanbok. Is that how you say
I
it?
don't know.
Okay, wears the however you say it. I'm not sure. I've only seen it like in words. But I just don't. It's annoying.
Yeah, and it's also just like, why is it always like, if they're trying to make the cast diverse, why is it always the female and not the male?
Mm-hmm.
And it like speaks to society how in you know how in SF there's, I mean, Nico and I play this game where it's called like Spot the Asian Couple, which is a little bit ironic or pot kettling or what is it? pot calling the kettle black because I'm an Asian
Yeah.
girl. But
Yeah.
there's so many Asian girls and white boys together in the Bay Area, and I don't know, maybe she's just like trying to be representative of society, which
Of the
yeah,
Bay Area.
which kind of makes sense. Is Jenny Han projecting?
I'm sure. She has to be. And you know what else she's projecting? Her immaturity. How the F did Jenny Han write the most immature character? If you told me today, hey, write a 15-year-old, I would not know how to make them as dumb as Belly. Like, I would not be able to like remember how dumb I was. And I think Jenny Han is unwell.
The way that she, like, the internal thoughts of Belly, I cannot make that shit up. I literally, like, gun to my head, I'd be like, I don't know. But how did she write a trilogy on this and then decide to write another trilogy?
Beats me, and I don't get it. In the show, the person who played Steven's girlfriend, what was her name again in the show?
I don't know, but the actress is Minnie, right?
Yeah, and we messaged Minnie on Insta and she never read it. Anyways, she is not in the second season, and she's alluded to it being because like she, I guess, called out that the characters weren't that like acting Asian, or basically called out Jenny Han in a way, and they didn't like that, so they cut her.
I think in the first series, they introduce a lot of secondary characters that are very diverse for the cast.
Yeah.
Minnie being, I think she grew up in Korea. And so I think she herself is more in tune. Whereas in comparison, Lola Tung, who plays Belly, is, I think, Asian American, and she's half Asian.
Okay.
I think that Lola is more representative of what, unfortunately, Jenny Han is going for. Like, I think Jenny Han is Asian American and not the type of Asian American that Minnie is. And so
Yeah.
I don't think that Jenny likes that about Minnie, unfortunately. That's just my speculation, though.
Yeah, Jenny Han, man. I don't have as strong opinions as I do about Mindy Kaling. Obviously, I'm Indian, so that's why. But if I had to compare, I do think Mindy's doing a better job.
She is. I also just don't think that, like, the scene for The Summer I Turned Pretty really sets it up for success, because,
yeah,
back to my first point, what Asian American mother would let her kids go to Cousin Beach? Also, like, just the premise of it makes no sense.
Laurel herself is like a very American Asian, I guess. Like, that's what you're supposed to get from it. But I'm a very American Asian, and I don't think I would let
no,
my kids
absolutely not.
Or it would be like, okay, we can go, but you have to study, like, or like do something productive for X amount of time a day.
Belly doing night swims in the pool? Never. Like, no. My parents would be like, you're gonna get sick.
Wet hair, and then you're gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, like
jail.
Absolutely not. Okay, to wrap us up, as we do with all of our Throwback Book Club reviews, rate this book 1 out of 10. God. 10 being the best book that you've ever read. And would you recommend this to, I don't know, a middle schooler or a high schooler?
What did I give Gossip Girl? I think a 4, right? I'm gonna give this a 3. I don't think, like, Gossip Girl I gave a 4 only because I think the premise is good. This one, I think the writing and premise is not fun for an adult to read. Would I recommend it? Sure. I don't think there's anything like necessarily bad in it. I think it's a very fun is a loose term, easy book to read, and it's like fine. It's not good or bad, so sure, you can read it as a high schooler or middle schooler. I'll let you.
Okay, that's interesting because we said we would not recommend Gossip Girl for the age that it's intended to be for.
Yeah, no, I would not.
I would give the book, I gave Gossip Girl a 3. Fine, I'll give this book a 2. I do think it's worse than Gossip Girl, even though the writing for Gossip Girl is so like
Yeah.
WTF. At least the author knew when to cut it short. The book for Summer I Turned Pretty is so long for like no reason, for like no plot.
Isn't it the same length as Gossip Girl
Is
though?
it?
I think so. They're both around like 2 something pages.
I feel like Gossip Girl was much shorter, but maybe I'm just mixing it up. I had to take a long ass break.
It's been a while.
Reading The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like I had to wait like a full 2 weeks before I picked it up again, and I picked it up again against my will. So I was like, I have to read it for the episode. But I would also like recommend it to like a younger sister, being like, yeah, sure, it's fun, but like don't get any crazy thoughts in your head that like you're supposed to be in a love triangle
With 2 brothers.
and they're both insanely hot. All right, there you have it. The Clown Vibes review of The Summer I Turned Pretty for Throwback Book Club. We'll continue this series, but we have some other really exciting topics to cover, so it might be a while, but Throwback Book Club will
Thanks
be
so
back.
much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com. And if you like our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.